Welcome to Building Better Onboarding, your AI-powered playbook with Neovation's own Adam Lamb. We're so happy that you joined us today. Just a little bit of housekeeping as we get started today. In case this is your first time meeting us here at Neovation, we are a learning solutions company. We build learning technology platforms like SmarterU, AutoLearn, and we also have a custom learning department that Adam works in that builds custom courses for our clients as well. We've been around for over 10 years. We have clients all over the world. And in the 1 second of promotional content in today's webinar, we are soon launching a new product called Joy Suite, which will actually help you do many of the things that Adam is going to be showing you today using a different tool. But please keep an eye on Joy Suite as it comes towards you. It's going to be a real game changer. So Neovation, we're a very AI forward company. We're really making that transition to maximize AI tools and help us work harder, work smarter, work better, and more productively. I've had the privilege of working with Adam for a couple of years now. He is a true guiding light and leader in the custom learning department. And I was so thrilled when he was offered to bring forward his expertise. So Adam, if you want to steal the screen share, and then we can get rolling. But you're an absolute delight to work with, and I am so excited for this webinar. I think you are going to literally change people's lives.
Oh
So
my
over to
goodness.
you. No
You, you've
pressure.
you've certainly set the bar, Susan.
Yep.
Thank you very much. All right. So I'm Adam Lamb from Neovation's custom learning team, and I'm going to be your host for this session. We're going to spend the next 45 minutes exploring a new, faster way to create onboarding program, one that combines human expertise with a little AI assistance. And I'm sort of pulling what I'm showing you today from some recent experience that I've had on my team, where we've had some recent new hires join our team, and I needed to create some onboarding for them. But as like many of you, I was very busy, so I turned to a tool that I've been spending more and more time with, Notebook LM, to help me create an onboarding program for you. So that's what sort of spurred the idea for this webinar, and I'm excited to share with you the things that I learned, and hopefully you can take away some of these things and apply them to your own work. So straight up, I'm going to be spending about 7 to 8 minutes setting up the problem we're solving and the approach that we'll use. We'll then jump into a live demo for the bulk of this session. So please bear with me for a few minutes up front before we get into the fun, juicy, interactive part. So today's session is all about making onboarding better and faster. If you ever spend weeks crafting an onboarding plan only to have new hires still feel confused, you're not alone. We think there's a better way, and I'm excited to share it with you. To make good on that promise, let me show you what you're going to walk away with today. So here's a quick roadmap for our webinar. Our goal today is practical help you can use right away. This isn't a sales pitch, but a shareable method you can try with your own onboarding content. So what will we cover? By the end, you'll see how to turn your existing onboarding materials into an audio podcast that new hires can listen to on their commute. You'll learn how the same AI system can generate interactive flashcards and quizzes to reinforce key points. You'll discover how an AI tool can live beyond day one as an always available coach for your new hires. And we'll do all that through a live case study following a project manager's onboarding plan. Plus, you'll get a handy onboarding checklist to spot gaps in your own program. And as Susan mentioned, I'll be providing you with a set of AI prompt templates to help you build your human-centered onboarding journey without spending weeks on it. Sound good? Let's do some quick housekeeping, then we'll jump right in. I'll keep this brief since Susan already covered most of it, But if you're just joining us, please drop any questions in the chat at any time. Susan is there tracking them, so we won't lose track of them, and we'll handle those as best as we can in a focused Q&A near the end of this session. If we don't get to your question live, we'll do our best to follow up with you afterwards. Okay, let's get into it. So let's start with the problem we're here to solve. Onboarding a new hire is like document chaos. Important information is all over the place. A policy handbook on OneDrive, SOPs buried in email attachments, last year's checklist in somebody's drawer. We, as L&D folks or folks in HR, can spend weeks gathering and organizing these materials into some kind of plan. And the poor new hire, they often get hit with a thick binder or a dump of PDFs on day one. No wonder they feel overwhelmed and confused. I actually made a promise in our fictional case study that you will not be left alone with a pile of documents and a hopeful thumbs up. In other words, we don't want to throw new hires in the deep end with nothing but a heap of reading. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of onboarding looks like today, a content dump rather than a guided journey. So before I show solutions, I want a quick read on your reality, so we're not guessing. What's your biggest current onboarding headache? Just enter the corresponding number to what matches your current challenge in chat. 1, 2, 3, and 4. But while you vote, I'll take a moment to answer one of the questions that were submitted to us in advance during the webinar registration, which was, how do you communicate to managers the importance or necessity of properly onboarding new employees? And this is a challenge that a lot of folks face. I like to frame onboarding as a manager performance tool, not an HR task. Strong onboarding is tied to retention and productivity, and managers are the biggest variable in whether it works. So I make it easy for managers. Clear expectations, lightweight tools, and a calendar-driven routine. The pitch to them is simple. Onboarding is how you buy speed and reduce avoidable churn, and will make it easy to do consistently. Okay, so Susan, can you help me out here? What do we have a consensus? I'm seeing like a lot of different variation here in chat.
Uh,
Ones and twos.
quick and dirty analysis. Number one is number one, followed by number three, then number four. Number two is the lowest one so far.
That makes total sense. Like there's a reason why number one is number one on that list, and that's the challenge that I personally faced recently when I was developing my onboarding program for our new hires. But all of these pain points usually lead to the same pattern. So let me show you what onboarding failure tends to look like. The early window of onboarding is fragile. Harvard Business Review reports that new employee turnover can be as high as 20% in the first 45 days, and about a third within 90 days. So think about that. 1 in 5 new employees gone within a month and a half. That's heartbreaking for any team, and it's expensive. Recruiting, hiring, and training a replacement costs time and money, and lost productivity piles up. That's not just an HR metric. It's lost momentum, lost productivity, and a restart of recruiting and training. And here's a pain point we rarely say out loud. When onboarding is unclear, managers and onboarding mentors end up spending their time re-explaining the basics instead of doing meaningful coaching and support. It also leads to inconsistent information because new hires learn through whoever happens to be available to teach them at that time, not through a consistent, approved source of truth. In short, onboarding isn't just a nice to have. It's truly make or break for retention and productivity. We need to get it right and get it right quickly because time is of the essence when a new person starts. So if that's the cost of messy onboarding, the question becomes, what does better actually look like? Imagine if instead of spending 4 to 6 weeks creating a mediocre onboarding package, you could build a robust, personalized onboarding program in a matter of days or even hours, not weeks. What if we keep one source of truth, but deliver it in formats that reduce reading and increase doing, quick overviews, practice, and on-demand answers? That's the workflow we're going to show in the demo. And with that in mind, here's where AI actually helps and where it should not. So before I bring in our AI sidekick, let me emphasize, we humans are still in charge, at least for now. I did watch one of the latest Terminator movies last night, which made me rethink this, but we've got a while before that happens, hopefully. AI is not a magic button that replaces our judgment or expertise. Think of AI as a strong assistant, fast, tireless, and helpful, but not a replacement for judgment, culture, or trust. This does not replace onboarding mentors or manager check-ins. It augments them by taking pressure off repetitive questions and content wrangling so humans can focus on mentorship and connection. So what can AI actually do for onboarding when you use it as a smart assistant and not a magical overlord? Here's a strategic goal before we talk features. We want a single source of truth, faster access to answers, microlearning practice that reinforces standards, momentum in week one, and a way for both the new hire and leadership to see and track progress. The outputs you'll see today are the proof points, not the point. The point is turning documents into an onboarding system. And with that, let's jump into the case study and demo. To make this real, let me introduce our case study. Meet Maple and Steel Consulting, or MSC. Quick disclaimer, this is a fictional company I came up with and fictional content. No real client data is used here. Our new hire in this story is Maya Patel, starting as a project manager. MSC has the classic problem we've all faced. Documentation exists, but it's scattered. Remember, number one, our goal is to turn that pile of role-relevant material, policies, SOPs, checklists, and templates into a single onboarding brain Maya can ask questions to at any time, and a set of onboarding assets that reduce reading and increase doing. One note of clarity before we jump in. I'm going to be showing you what I built in a tool called Notebook LM. But this session is not a 101 tutorial on introducing you to that tool. I'm using it as an example so you can see the workflow and kind of prompts we used, but I'm going to move quickly through the interface. If you're completely new to Notebook LM and you want to give it a try after this, the prompt pack that you will receive after the webinar will include a few quick start resources to get you up and running. We followed a simple 3-step approach for Maya's onboarding program. Okay, enough theory. Let's go hands-on, and I'll call out where we are at each step as we go. So let me switch over to Notebook LM. So don't be scared. There's a lot here, but I'm going to walk you through it all. First, the UI. The Notebook LM UI is separated into 3 major zones. First, on the left, we have the sources panel. This is our controlled source of truth. In the center is the chat panel. This is where Maya can ask questions in plain language and get source-backed answers with citations. And finally, on the right is the studio panel, where we generate and organize assets like our study guides, infographics, audio and video overviews, flashcards, and quizzes. So here's a 10-second version of our build workflow mapped to what you're seeing on screen. Step one, we imported and uploaded our sources. So these sources can be living on your OneDrive, in your Google Drive. They can be PDFs. They can be videos that you might have on your YouTube channel. We essentially upload all of those sources here, and those are the things that feed our brain. And this is what counts as our truth for the role. Step two is the studio on the right. We use these sets of tools that you see at the top to generate the assets from the sources that we upload, the reports, the audio and video, the flashcards, quizzes, and visuals. Then finally, we review all of those things that that are generated, and we export them as polished assets, and we add those outputs as sources, so the system stays current. We chose Notebook LM for this demo because it stays anchored to the sources we provide and can cite them, which is huge for onboarding accuracy. It doesn't just search the web for what a project manager is. It speaks directly to the sources that you upload. So you're always in control. For the new hire, it just feels like a company knowledge hub. So first, we want to so when we're coming in here and after we get all of our assets in, one of the first things we want to do is get a catalog of everything that's in here. So how I did this was I created essentially a source catalog. This is a plain language map of everything in our onboarding brain. It tells Maya what each document is for, when to use it, and where to dig deeper. This is what you want when a new hire thinks, I know the answer exists somewhere, but I don't know where to start. And here's the key. I didn't write this catalog, this document by hand. I had the AI create a first draft using a reusable prompt. So if I go back here into Notebook LM, I've got all my sources here, on the left selected, and I simply went over to reports. And I used the create your own report. I simply selected all of my source documents, and then I applied a custom prompt. And Notebook LM automatically produced the organized document that I showed you before. Just note that that prompt that I used will be included in your prompt pack, so you'll be able to reuse it. And the output that it produced came back in seconds, complete with each source's summary and when to use advice. I then copied that into a Google Doc and then fed it back into the brain as a source, so it becomes part of the system. This makes the workflow repeatable and maintainable. If documents change, we regenerate the catalog quickly. And if we onboard a new role, we can run the same steps with a different set of sources. So if the source catalog is the map, the study guide is the cheat sheet. Basically, the study guide is a short summary of how we work here, giving Maya a fast mental model so she can contribute without drowning in reading. It doesn't replace all the full documents that you see as sources. It distills the essentials. So here I'll open up a copy of the study guide. So here you'll see sections on key processes, core artifacts, and team norms. I'll pause here to point out that this is specific to MSC and grounded in what we uploaded. In short, it gives a new hire the rules of the road on for day one. I generated it with the report tool here in Notebook LM, and the prompt that I used will be included in your prompt pack. So next we shift from orientation to execution. For this, I actually created two onboarding plan assets from the studio panel because they serve two different audiences. The first is a working onboarding plan document for Maya. This is meant to be her day-to-day companion for the first 60 days. This one was generated using the reports tool, and then I copied the content into a Google Doc so it's easy to use in the real world. So a few quick things that you'll notice. It's written directly to the new hire, in this case, Maya, so it feels personal and practical. It lays the ramp for the three phases: her orientation, assisted execution, and then ownership. It includes concrete pieces like a tool setup checklist for week one, and a week-by-week action plan with objectives, key activities, and outputs. This format is great for weekly one-on-ones because Maya and her manager can treat it like a living plan, review what's done, adjust what's next, and keep the ramp structured. The second asset uses the same source content, but serves as a manager-facing kickoff slide deck. This is intended to be used in day one or week one conversations. It's more visual and high level to set expectations and reduce ambiguity. So I've already got this pre-baked for us. So let me bring it up here so you can take a look. So right away, you can see that it's written from the manager's perspective as a kickoff. Welcome to the team, Maya. I'll flick through a couple of the slides. Some of the things you'll notice is that it covers, what success looks like in Maya's first couple of weeks, including key operating principles and how MSC works. And it visually represents the big milestones across her 60-day ramp-up plan. So the first document is the detailed working plan for Maya. And the slide deck is the manager's visual guide for leading the kickoff conversation. Together, they cover both sides of onboarding, what the learner does and how the manager supports the ramp. Bear with me while I hydrate. Okay. Now for one of my favorite onboarding accelerators, the audio overview. This is an audio guide from Maya's first week. Notebook LM's studio doesn't just give you a script that you have to record. It actually generates the narrated audio for you, using the content from your sources plus a prompt. So why do I love this? New hires need the big picture fast, but they might not have the time or energy to read through 15 documents on day one. I know I certainly don't. Audio gives them a walk me through this option. They can listen to a friendly voice explain things while they commute or have a coffee, which is much more inviting than reading a huge binder. For our case, I gave the AI a short prompt, telling it what to include and what tone to use for a week one welcome. So here in the format, I selected brief. So I just wanted a brief audio overview, and I pasted in the prompt that I used to generate it, and simply hit generate. And voila, we got a narrated overview of week one ready to go. Again, I've got this one pre-baked, but let's take a listen to a few seconds of seeing what this sounds like. If it will play for me, the perils of doing something live.
This is the brief of your first week as a project manager at Maple & Steel Consulting. Maya, welcome to the team. So here at MSC, our culture is all about clarity beats heroics and client call. That just means we're all about running a predictable, smooth system, not relying on those stressful last-minute saves. Okay, first up, to keep everything on track.
So here Heller references MSC's way of working and keeps it practical. This is the kind of asset that helps new hires feel oriented before they even finish their first coffee. Okay, now let's shift from overview to retention. Because it's not enough to teach folks things. We need to make sure that what we're teaching them is sticking. And one of the tools that's in Notebook LM that really helps with this is flashcards. These are quick self-check Q&A cards pulled from the docs. Things like, what is the first step in a client intake? Or who approves the change order? Maya can flip through these on her phone or laptop when she has a few minutes. It's a simple way to reinforce terminology and processes without rereading an SOP. And we didn't have to write them from scratch. We reviewed the AI's draft for accuracy and fit, and then shared it with Maya. Let's take a look at what it generated. So you can see the questions, or in this case, we're asking to define a term on one side, and then we click it to see the answer on the other. And if Maya is confused or she wants to dive in a bit deeper, she can always click on the explain button for more context. So let me show that to you. So what it's doing now is taking that question and now referencing all the source content that was put into the brain to give Maya the wider context for that answer. So as you can see here in the chat, she's getting a much more detailed answer related to that question or that term. And along the way, all the sources are cited. So at a glance, Maya can see specifically where this answer came from and can jump directly to that source document. So there shouldn't ever be any doubt that this is accurate and timely information. Next up is one of my favorites, infographics. I started my career as a digital designer, and I like to think visually. It really helps me contextualize and really understand complex topics. And this is one of the things that Notebook LM has really begun to excel at, especially in some of its more recent updates. So when someone's new, they don't just need details. They need a mental model of how things work. A good infographic can provide that fast. I had the AI generate 2 infographics, both grounded in MSC's sources. The first was their delivery life cycle. This is an end-to-end project flow with phases, key activities, required artifacts, and responsibilities. It's basically how our projects work in a nutshell. Obviously, we don't have time to go through it all in detail here, but yeah, I wanted to demonstrate that this this was entirely generated based off of source documents and a prompt. The tool handled creating this visual, and when it's generated, you can fine tune it in case it made any mistakes or you want it to focus on something specific. The second infographic where was focused on their MSC's stage gates and required artifacts. It's more of a checkpoint view. This has to what has to be ready at each gate, who reviews it, and what quality checks apply. So if Maya ever wonders, what do I need to have ready before I move on to the next stage? This infographic answers it at a glance in a visual, clear way. The big point here is that these aren't generic templates. They reinforce MSC's process, their terminology and expectations, and they make the system easier to navigate at a glance. Okay, now that you've seen a few different onboarding assets, let's build one live so you can see the workflow, not just the finished output. I'll let you folks choose which one to generate right now. So just like before, type either 1 or 2 in chat, and 1 for study guide and 1 for flashcards. While you vote, I'll answer another pre-submitted question. This one is, how do we measure the impact of onboarding? This is one I get a lot, and it's a tough one, but measuring onboarding, like any other business process, is like any other business process. You need to pick a few outcomes that you care about, define what good looks like by role, then compare cohorts over time. I like mixing speed, retention, and sentiment because onboarding is both performance and experience. If you can only track 2 things, personally, I would pick time to productivity. So how quickly someone is able to go from day 1 to doing the tasks related to their role, and early retention. And then use pulse surveys to explain the why behind the numbers. All right, so let's look. Oh my goodness, it looks pretty much literally everyone choose 1. Okay, was not expecting that. But let's go with the study guide. All right, let's switch back here. Cool. Okay, so first I'm going to select the sources that we want to use in the study guide. These should define how we work here. For a study guide, I usually pick the SOPs and process overviews, plus 1 or 2 examples of real artifacts. So this is basically the same process that we follow when generating anything over here in the studio. We can either select all of our sources, or we can select specific ones that we want the tool to focus on. So for this one, I'm going to, let's see, change control. I wanted to pick our glossary, life cycle, stage gates, quality standards, and let's drop in the grade lock. Cool. Okay, so now that we've got our sources selected, we head over to the studio panel where the magic happens. And for this one, I used the reports tool. So what you see here is Notebook LM comes bundled with a bunch of pre-made formats that you can choose for your report. And luckily enough, one of the ones is a study guide. So let's select that, and we could use the use what it has here and just hit generate and get a pretty decent result. But just like any AI tool, it's only as good as the prompt that you give it. So what I did was create a custom prompt to give something very specific that I wanted to deliver from Maya. I'll paste that in here. And this is basically a focused, edited version of the prompt that you'll get in your prompt pack today. That's focused specifically on this, on MSC and Maya's case. So drop that prompt in there and hit generate. So you'll see here in the studio panel, it's generating the report based off of the 6 sources that I selected. The prompt is designed to produce something a new hire can actually use in week 1. And again, it's the same prompt that you'll see in your prompt template. So, it looks like it's already done. Okay. So when it's generated, there's a few things that I want to be looking at when I review it. One, I want to validate that it matches our terminology. Does it stay practical, not generic? This should reflect the MSC way of doing things, not just a generic process. And does it include citations? So this is what I do every time it generates something. I'm not just hitting generate and sending it off to the new hire, because as good as what the AI tool is, we still need to be the humans in the center of this and validating what it produces. So this is the trust layer. It's not just a nice summary. It's grounded in the documents that we provided. If we want to refine the output, I usually do one or more small improvement passes. So for example, I might say shorten the intro, add week 1 priorities, or format it as a checklist. Now in a real workflow, I would export this into a Google Doc and then add it back into the notebook as a source. That way, it becomes part of the onboarding brain and can be referenced by the Q&A and other outputs. That's the pattern you'll see throughout. Sources in, AI draft out, human review, then a polished asset goes back into part of the system. And getting it back into the system is as simple as going up and just hitting the copy button. I literally just hit this button, opened up a Google Doc, pasted it in, and then added it back in as a source from our Google Drive. Okay. So now let's hit on another new hire-friendly format, video overviews. Think of these as the visual counterpart to the audio overview. They're short, narrated explainers built from your content. They're great for orientation because a new hire can watch a few minutes and have a lot of things click. The tool allows you to choose between a detailed explainer format for a brief overview, and you can also choose the same predefined visual styles or customize it to align with your organization's brand. So for MSC, I created 2 videos. First was a welcome to Maple and Steel. This one is a warm welcome and overview from Maya for our first few weeks. It's narrated in a friendly tone using you, your, and we, our language to make it personal. It walks her through what success looks like in week 1 and 2, what our rhythm is, the core artifacts we'll be working on early, and who she can go to for help. Let's take a quick look.
Maya, welcome to Maple and Steel Consulting. I just want to say the whole team is so excited to have you here. We can't wait to get started. Think of this as your personal roadmap for the next couple of weeks. Our goal here is simple, to help you ramp up smoothly, all grounded in our core principle of calm, predictable delivery. We definitely don't do frantic first days around here.
So see the style? It's friendly, branded, straight to the heart of what she needs to know first.
You know, we're so impressed her.
Correct. So I know we're running a bit long in time, so I want to jump ahead to and show you one last thing, which is the chat feature. So give me a few seconds here. So this is what I call the trust builder. It's an AI-powered Q&A with citations. This is like giving Maya a coach that's available 24/7 and can show exactly where an answer came from. Imagine it's day 2 and Maya wonders, what's our process if project scope changes? Instead of digging through files or pinging her manager, she can just ask the onboarding brain. So let me just open up the chat and I'll paste in a quick question. So the AI searches the onboarding documents and responds with a concise answer plus citations. That means Maya gets speed and she gets proof. She can click the citation to see the original passage. So this is a game changer. This reduces repetitive questions to coworkers and helps new hires build good habits, learn where information lives, and verify what they're reading. And one more guardrail. We configure the system not to guess. If something isn't in the sources, it should say it doesn't know and point the learner to the right person or document. That was critical for building trust in the system. And I was going to demo this, but the other thing I'll note is that even though all your source documents are in English, your responses don't need to be. You don't need to engage with this in English. So if you have folks, if you are delivering onboarding training to an international audience or multilingual audience, you can simply build it once using your single source of truth documents in a single language. And then in Notebook LM, your users can come up to their settings and change their output language from English to the preferred language. And what happens is the AI, you can the user can type their question in their own language into the chat, and the AI will respond in that language, basically translating live all of the source content that we have in English. A really powerful thing for international audiences, so you don't end up having to translate your source content multiple times. Okay, so Susan tells me we've got a fair number of questions waiting for me, but I'll just say a couple more things and then see if we can answer some of those questions. So you might be thinking, this all sounds great, Adam, but how do we actually do this with my team's onboarding? Don't worry, we've got some next steps for you. So we've prepared a practical onboarding checklist sources that will send you. It helps you spot gaps and quick wins, like whether you have a clear 30 to 90 day plan for easy access to SOPs and feedback loops. And of course, if you want some guidance, please reach out to us. We'll be very happy to help.
Adam, thank you so much for sharing your expertise. I know that you've put employees through your program, and it has been a great start for them. We're going to be moving this in Neovation across all of our divisions now that you've mastered the art and you can teach the rest of us how to do this great work. We appreciate your time and your expertise. Thanks so much for attending today. We appreciate your time.
Thanks,
Love.
folks.